A young man accidentally falls into a forbidden romance with the wife of a wealthy banker. From that moment on, he begins to gain things he never dared to dream of. But one day, the husband suddenly collapses and dies under mysterious circumstances, dragging the young man into endless troubles. Only in the final moments does he realize the shocking truth. The story begins with the main character, Dak, going on vacation with his family at a resort. Dak is a true prodigy, highly intelligent, but he only enjoys staying at home. Even while traveling, he brings a pile of books along. His parents are very proud of his self-discipline. However, Dak's best friend Saz doesn't like that. Saz is always persuading Dak to go out and have fun instead of locking himself inside. Although Saz is often rejected by girls, he never gives up. His motto is, if you persist shamelessly, success will eventually come. One day, Dak looks out the window and notices new neighbors who just moved in. They're an extremely wealthy couple. The husband, Elliot, is the owner of a bank. And his wife, Liner, is stunningly beautiful and seductive. With just one glance, Dak is completely captivated and cannot take his eyes off her. From afar, he quietly watches Liner at the window, feeling disappointed when she leaves. The next day, Saz and Dak place a mattress in a beachside storage shed, with Saz boasting he would bring girls there for fun. Later, the two go to the beach to drink beer. Saz stays to flirt with some girls, while Dak decides to return home to study. Upon arriving home, Dak sees the wealthy neighbor visiting his parents. They introduce Elliot to him and tell their son to learn from such a successful man. Elliot says, I hear you're talented. My newly bought yacht broke down. If you can fix it, money won't be an issue. Dak agrees immediately, thinking not only could he earn money but also have more chances to meet Liner. Soon after, Dak goes to the dock to check the yacht. While pondering how to fix it, he suddenly sees Liner emerging from the sea. Her figure is so alluring that no man could remain unmoved. She then walks into a bathroom nearby. Strangely, the bathroom is made of wooden planks with gaps wide enough for Dak to see her entire bathing process. Just as he is mesmerized, Elliot suddenly approaches, startling him. Dak quickly pretends to discuss the yacht, saying it might cost $14 to repair, but if too much, he could lower it to $12. At that moment, Liner finishes her bath, wrapped in a towel. Dak secretly glances at her, but Elliot remains unsuspecting and even promises to pay him $20 if he fixes the boat. Dak is thrilled. Not only does he get money but also gets to admire a beauty. That night, Dak tosses and turns, unable to sleep. He sneaks to peek at Liner's room and is shocked to see Elliot behaving aggressively with her. Although Liner repeatedly says, no, Elliot becomes even more aroused. Dak doesn't understand why she shows such resistance. The next day, while Dak is still figuring out the yacht's engine, he hears a loud scream. He rushes over and discovers it's Liner. A spider had crawled into her car, and she pleads for help. Dak bravely crushes it under his foot, impressing her with his masculinity. She then deliberately sits on his lap and behaves flirtatiously. Dak, who had never experienced such intimacy, becomes even more drawn to her. Excited, he tells Saz about it, but Saz warns him to stay away. Once, a thug tried to approach Liner and was badly beaten by Elliot. Hearing this, Dak grows nervous but pretends he isn't worried. That evening, as Dak returns home, he finds Liner waiting. She had forgotten her keys and asked him for help. Just then, it begins raining heavily, soaking her clothes and making her appear even more seductive. To avoid waking his parents, Dak wraps a stone in his shirt and smashes her window, climbing inside to unlock the door for her. Inside, Liner laments her loneliness, complaining that Elliot is always away on business trips, even on their wedding anniversary. As she tends to Dak's glass-cut wound, she gently blows on it, making it hard for him to restrain himself. When he is about to leave, he suddenly gathers courage, turns back, and kisses her. Liner passionately responds. The next morning, Liner is lying in his arms. She asks how many times they've been together. Dak replies, once in the kitchen, once on the staircase, and now on this bed, the third time. Their relationship progresses quickly, making Dak feel uneasy, but soon, they begin meeting more frequently. While Dak repairs the yacht, Liner appears, and the two secretly indulge in their affair aboard. Whenever they find the chance, they seize it. One day, Elliot and Liner go shopping at the supermarket, but instead of buying anything, she sneaks out the back to meet Dak. As Elliot anxiously looks around for his missing wife, Liner is passionately wrapped in the arms of her young lover. He walked around looking for her. At that moment, they were dangerously close. If Elliot had taken just one more step, he would have realized the massive horns on his head. But then, he turned and walked away. Both Dak and Liner sighed in relief. A while later, with her clothes messy and disheveled, Liner returned with Elliot. By then, Dak had already finished repairing the yacht. Together with Elliot and Liner, he sailed out to admire the sea. When Elliot went inside, Liner whispered to Dak that she wanted a divorce. That night, Dak received another call from Liner. She told him Elliot had beaten her again. Dak rushed to the hospital gates to comfort her. The next day, as if nothing had happened, he took her to Cass's secret hideout. The love bed Saz had bragged about never got to be used by him. It was now taken over by Dak and Liner. She then confessed to Dak that their affair would soon be discovered. They were sneaking around more frequently, in increasingly obvious places. It was sheer luck Elliot hadn't caught them yet. Hearing this, Dak grew uneasy, sensing something ominous. Sure enough, that very night after another urgent call, Dak rushed to her house, only to find Elliot lying lifeless on the floor. Liner cried, saying they had argued violently, and in the struggle, she accidentally killed him. Now she was terrified. With Elliot dead, they could be together freely, without fear of discovery. After a long pause, Dak decided to help her cover it up. He even suggested what story she should tell if questioned. He then dragged Elliot's body toward the yacht. Just then, a guard on patrol spotted him. Quick-witted, Dak lit a cigarette and puffed from afar. The guard mistook him for Elliot and walked away. Dak staged the scene to look like Elliot was crushed by the yacht, then set fire to the boat and jumped into the sea to escape. The next morning, the police recovered Elliot's body. While they had no conclusions yet, the insurance company sent an investigator because Elliot's life insurance was worth tens of millions of dollars. The beneficiary was, of course, Liner. The investigator, Anne, showed up with a tough, determined attitude. She insisted that Elliot's death was definitely tied to Liner and demanded that the police investigate thoroughly. But as an insurance employee, she had no authority to interrogate suspects, so she needed police cooperation. Soon, Liner was summoned for questioning. Anne asked if either she or Elliot had ever been unfaithful. Naturally, Liner firmly denied it. The session ended for the day. Meanwhile, police continued combing the crime scene for clues. The guard who had seen someone on the yacht that night told them the figure didn't look like Elliot. This expanded the investigation. The police called Dak's whole family in for questioning. The way Anne interrogated them made Dak's mother furious. They had come to give information, but were being treated like criminals. The family stormed out angrily. As the investigation progressed, more evidence surfaced. Dak arranged to meet Liner, hiding the secret phone they used to communicate, the only proof of their affair. Liner told him to wait until next year, when he could live independently, and then they could be together openly every day. But when Dak returned home, he was shocked to see Anne there. She asked for his blood and fingerprints. The truth was, the police had found blood on the broken window glass from that night. Anne warned him not to lie. She laid out her theory, step by step, describing exactly how the crime might have happened. Hearing this, Dak panicked. Terrified, he fled to his friend Saz. Meanwhile, Dak's mother, while cleaning his room, was shocked to find women's underwear hidden in his closet. Later, the police lured Dak to a bar. On the surface, they comforted him, saying he had nothing to worry about. But afterward, they secretly collected his fingerprints from the glass he drank from. Dak could no longer hide. When his parents found the underwear, they also realized their son was involved. Finally, Dak confessed to them. At that moment, the police arrived with fingerprint evidence linking him to the crime. Yet they hesitated to arrest him. They believed he was a good kid who had been manipulated. A detective promised to give him a chance. But Dak fled, running to the storage shed to destroy the incriminating phone. Suddenly, Liner appeared. Without a word, she embraced him, then began tearing her own clothes. Before Dak understood what was happening, she dragged him down and screamed. Instantly, Anne and the police rushed in. Liner was framing him for assault. Dak begged them to believe he was innocent. The police suspected as much, but their hands were tied. They pretended to release him, and he ran straight to Anne. He handed her the phone taken from Liner's bag and told her everything, pleading with her to check it for proof. Anne looked stunned. She immediately called the police, claiming what Dak said was true and that he wasn't guilty. But then, shockingly, she handcuffed him to the bed, telling him to stay put until police arrived. She then hurried off with Liner. At that moment, Dak noticed matching tattoos on both their legs. Thinking back to Anne's aggressive accusations, he realized the truth. They were accomplices all along. He had been nothing more than a pawn in their plan. Liner left the phone behind as she stepped into the car, then passionately kissed Anne. It turned out they had used Dak to distract the police, allowing them to escape with a fortune in insurance money. Now, they could freely disappear abroad and live in luxury. If you were the main character in this film, would you have the willpower to resist the beauty and temptation of Liner?